So if you get a win tonight, that will breed confidence going into those next 4 games against teams in the similar spots beside you in the table.
Where you from, Jim?
Ireland.
I like your accent. It's tough.
So,
I want to learn how to talk like that. But ask your question again. I was too much listening to your accent.
Welcome to Wolf Brothers Podcast, all the way from Wichita and Taiwan, Kaohsiung. Did I say it right?
Good enough.
Good enough. Is it Kaohsiung or Kaohsiung?
Kaohsiung,
Kaohsiung.
technically, but
Okay.
you can say Kaohsiung.
Dude, I met a guy
The-
from
the-
Taipei the other day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I was like, "Oh yeah, my brother lives in Kaohsiung." Right? I think he's like, "What?" I think I said it weird. But he's like, "Yeah, I know where that's at." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, I don't know what he said about it, but he's like, "Yeah, that's pretty good, pretty dope."
Yeah.
Are you like rivals? Is it like East Side, West Side?
I mean, we're South Side and they're in the North. So Taipei is the biggest city, but then the next two biggest are us and Taichung. So you could say us three.
Tyus
Kind of
Jones?
rivalry, but Taichung.
Oh, Tyus Jones, nice dude. So it's a three-way rivalry, kind of like New York, Boston, and Los Angeles.
Philly?
Philly, yeah.
Los Angeles.
Oh, I just was thinking big markets,
Oh, you're thinking big market. I thought you were thinking like the
topography
Yeah.
or location geography.
East Coast area or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. A bad geography, dude. All right. Uh, wow, what a week! Holy smokies! The Mavs Wolves was a game that is seared into my memory. It was pain. It was stick the knife in my heart and twist it when Luka hit that step back after missing 7 straight threes. I have all kinds of feelings. I'll let you go first. What's your overall takeaways from the Mavs game?
Depression. I mean, I dislike the Mavs so much. There's something about losing a playoff series that just sears a team into your soul in a different way. Like this happened with Memphis, this happened with Denver, and now this has happened with Dallas. There's just a different feel, and to see Luka hit another stupid shot makes me so mad. To see the we didn't lose because of the refs, but to see the last 2-minute report come out and show they missed a bunch of obvious calls in the end, it just brings flashbacks to the Jaden foul, to Luka's step back on Rudy, to all this stuff.
Oh,
And
that out of
especially-
bounds call. Remember that?
And especially because just like the series, we went out there and I feel like nobody got to see the real Wolves. We're better than this. We got 20 turnovers. We missed a billion free throws. So I'm not panicked or worried or that much. Like it's not that big of a deal in terms of where the team is at. But I feel soggy because my pride is on the line when we play Dallas and we didn't show up the way that we could have, even though Ant gave a superhero first quarter.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that first quarter was Team USA versus, was it Puerto Rico, or who was the team where he went electric on?
Yeah, and
That was amazing.
that was wild. Yeah.
That's what it felt like. He was taking those dribble pull-up threes that were not good shots, but were going in somehow. And that was pretty exciting. And the funny thing is Ant goes on this 6 for 8 from 3 in the first quarter, goes bonkers, drops, 24 points? And then we're only up 7. It reminded me of like when Cat dropped 60 and yet we weren't winning. It's like they go supernova, and then somehow they, defensively we're just not gelling quite like we used to. It's going to take time, I get it. But there are just some other things that overall we are in a transition time as a team. And it's going to take time for this team to, because I'll be honest, Julius Randle offensively is shooting unbelievable. He's playing lights out. He's shooting like 60 something from three. He's getting like really good looks. It feels like offensively we're making stuff happen. Like I can't imagine what would happen if we didn't shoot well. It'd be really bad. So I don't know. I'm just feeling like we're seeing these glimpses of how talented we are, but we're also and here's the other thing that's unsustainable is we've got to get minutes for other guys. I mean, Ant's playing 40 minutes a game. That's also not sustainable. I feel like we've got to start widening. We're supposed to be the deepest team in the league, quote unquote, and yet it feels like we play 7 guys, 8 guys the whole game. That I don't get. I don't know if it's that expectations are just so high early on in the season that Finch is like, I need to get these guys to gel quick. But he's not even trying other lineups. I don't know. That's my one major
Okay.
frustration.
So my thoughts on that, he acknowledges much that Ant has to get his minutes down, and that's why he pulled him for like 5 minutes to start the second quarter after he went supernova. And it kind of felt like it was a tad too long because he came back in and he didn't have that same juice and spark he did before,
Mm-hmm.
but it's because he's intentionally trying to get him to more reasonable minute load. In terms of the rest of the team, we're not the deepest team in the league. We have the deepest top 8. Our 6 through 8 are all starting quality players.
Yeah.
And that's what makes our depth so crazy is that our top 8 is sick. I think he really wants to figure out the chemistry of our top guys before tinkering more, is my guess. Which I get because there's new pieces. Randall's new, DiVincenzo's new, and you got to figure out how those pieces fit with everyone else who's been here. And they didn't get here. The trade didn't happen until right before training camp, so they didn't have extra time to figure stuff out. So that's my guess. I do think the bench will extend. I know everybody's calling for Minot to play over Jingles, which I personally would do too, but I don't think it's like that big of a deal either way. So yeah, I don't know. I'm not worried about the depth stuff. Like that'll come. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be Conley management. There's going to be games where different people are out. The bench will extend. It's just if we're going to play Dilly or Tishan or Minot, who do you want to take those minutes away from? Okay, say we take 4 minutes away from Ant. Who else? I don't want Devo, or Nas dropping below 25 minutes a game. Na is killing it. Nas has been playing well and pretty well, and Devo's broke as a joke, but we know how good he will
Jingles
likely become.
And Conley.
Jingles has like 4 minutes a game. He didn't even play the first game, and since he's averaging like 5 minutes a game. So
cut it in half.
Conley played 21 minutes last game. Conley's gonna be fine. I hear you, and I don't know. I'm torn. I just think that I don't disagree that extending the bench is a good idea. I just think you're talking about there's so many bigger issues for the team that I feel like is more of a judgment call that could go either way. I think the real issues are turnovers and transition defense.
Yeah. Well, the turnovers are really bad.
Turnovers are terrible.
Yeah.
And a lot of it isn't even like schematic uncertainty. It feels like our guys are being sloppy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mix of things, but there's always going to be an adjustment when you're less confident about what you guys are running and stuff. But also, there's just some bad turnovers. Ant had a really bad one late when we had a chance to bring it back. And I mean, the whole team, it's just we've been more turnover pro. I think Nas had like 5 too. So that's definitely a problem, the turnovers and the transition D too, which 2 years ago, that was a big problem. I think one of the things that Cat provided is because he's so often hung out around the top of the key that he would be a great first line of defense. And if Cat's back, that's a big body. We got to figure out a way though, because they kept getting it to Gafford in transition. And with Gobert, we have him providing that rim presence for offensive rebounding and things like that, which I think is worthwhile. We need to find ways to get people back so that we're not going to get
Yeah.
killed in transition D.
What's your thoughts on Anthony Edwards has made 22 threes. He's shooting crazy jump in volume. And I know that was kind of his thing. He's like been working on his tray ball all summer. But this is like a historic. This is besides Stephen Curry, who made 24 in 2003 or 23. Ant is second all time for most made in the first 4 games, which is kind of crazy. He's shooting so many threes, and they're going in for the most part. But is it sustainable? Is this just a blip in the system? Does he need to tone it down a bit? What are your thoughts on Ant Curry?
Well, the thing about Ant is he's known to go on season-long side quests. You know, last year it was the bank. He came in and he was so excited to show the world how good he was at bank.
The bank.
And then he had this, he literally banked a free throw. And then he had this left-handed mini side quest in the middle of last season. Ant works on things in the summer and then is so proud of all his hard work that he wants to show it off. And I love that about him. And so he came in ready. He said, what did you work on this summer? He said, catch and shoot threes. And so I think he was ready to go prove off he's a shooter. And, you know, Chris Hines has reported he's writing that book on him. And Chris Hines, he said that Ant's whole life, he's wanted to show people that he's a good shooter. He takes more pride in that than being the best athlete in the world. Everybody knows that about him, but he's a good shooter. And I do think it's something that separates him from other athletes like him. So I don't know. I have no problem with him getting a very high volume of threes, especially when he's shooting 42%. Okay, if he's shooting 42%, shoot as many as you want. I don't care. That's more efficient than he's ever been in his career from 2. The concern for me right now is his percentage of shots at the rim. It's like 10% or something super low. I'm cool with him not taking as many long twos because, frankly, he's never been a high percentage guy from there. But I do think when he is attacking the basket, it's good for the health of the offense in all of the ways. And that's what I didn't understand from the game, okay? He hit 6 threes in the first quarter. I'm going crazy. I love that he's chucking it. But then he should use the attention he's getting from that to attack because people are going to react. That's what Luka killed us with. And game 5, when we played them, he hit all those deep threes early on. So we started going over way out on the pick and rolls, and he, picked us apart. Ant needs to recognize that his crazy shooting is drawing extra attention and use that to put pressure on the rim and open up for guys or himself. So I'm for the threes, but that needs to allow him to use his superpower, which is his athleticism and getting to the rim.
So I've been thinking about the Mavs because they've been a killer matchup for us. We just don't match up well against them. Gafford and Lively become like all-star caliber centers when we play them for some reason. And then I think a huge part of it is here's what Kidd has to do, right? He has to scheme defensively so that Luka can basically guard the worst offensive player, and he does it really well. You'll see Luka guarding Gobert often because Gobert's kind of a non-threat offensively. You'll see him on Jaden when Jaden's not playing super strong. And what I think we need to be doing against them is relentlessly getting Luka in one-on-ones with Ant or Randall, which is not easy, but I feel like we need to wear him out on defense because they literally are in energy conservation mode on him and Kyrie, both of them. And I feel like Ant should be trying to pick fights with Kyrie offensively because defensively, we know that it wears Ant out when he guards Kyrie. Like Kyrie's a lot to handle. Kyrie played a masterclass of a game against us. He was awesome. And I hate every second of it because he's so freaking good. But we've got to find ways to wear them out on the other side of the floor because that's what they do. And they can get away with it because they've got Gafford and Lively interchanging in the post, protecting the rim. And they've got so much length. I just feel like they're not a great defensive team, but they make it work. And we have to exploit that somehow because I feel like every time we play them, it always feels like we're running uphill. Even when we get a lead, I'm like, we're not going to have this for very long. I don't know. What are your thoughts? How are we going to beat the Mavs?
Again, I don't take too much stock from the game in terms of what it would mean for playoffs because I think we're just still gelling. I think that Klay Thompson's a much easier plug and play guy than Julius Randle.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I think we got to take care of just some of our general stuff first. I don't think that we're a finished product as a team, but in terms of them, I think one of the issues too is we get in so many cross matches because the way they defend us is different than how we defend them. And so in transition, one of the things Finch said, the reason we gave up so much is because we were in cross matches and especially because they were switching a lot. So our guys would worry about trying to get onto the right guy rather than just getting onto a guy. And that led to them getting uh, some good opportunities and set up in offense. So I think that's something we just have to concede. I think you're right. The thing is Finch doesn't like to play pick and roll mismatch basketball all day long. And I don't know if that's the best full strategy, but I do think you're right that we need to work harder to attack Luka.
Yeah.
Especially Luka and Kyrie. I think you're right. I mean, Luka, it'll wear him out. He can't guard Ant, and they do switch a lot, so it should be easy to create some of these mismatches. Yeah, I think there's a lot schematically that it's hard to like nail out a full game plan when I feel like I don't even know what the best version of this team looks like yet.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I have some great idea, but I think part of it is we just got to find who we are first before we can really nail out how this team takes advantage of the Dallas matchup.
Yep. And I know, obviously, Devo hasn't been himself yet. He's been in a bit of a slump shooting wise, and I feel like there's still a lot to figure out defensively for us.
And
go ahead.
One more thing. Sorry. The other thing that they did, I should have thought of this too, is they do a better job than almost any team I feel like at attacking Mike Conley. And part of it is Conley, he usually is fine as a defender, and like as a chase defender, he's actually really good. So he's good on Klay, but he has a hard time with Luka and Kyrie, and they've done a really good job at hunting that. So that's something we got to figure out how to best mitigate the damages of that, which might mean more Devo and Nah. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a crazy week for the Wolves. I mean, we have the Nuggets. So we go Mavs Nuggets, and luckily it's a home game. But I feel like if we don't win against the Nuggets, I'm going to go into a hibernation, darkness, depression, because it would just hurt too much. And Jokic is coming off of a monster 19-point, 20 rebound, like 16 assists game. So he's feeling it. The Nuggets are back, get their mojo back after losing the first two. And it's going to be a good game. Hopefully the Target Center is going to be rocking. And then we've got the alien, Wemby, playing him on Saturday. And that's
You
going to
could never be an announcer.
I can never get Wemby's name right. I'm just going to say Wemby from now on.
If we ever do an alternate stream, you cannot be the play-by-play guy because your ability to do names is not your strength. Wembenyama.
Wembenyama. Okay, who cares?
Wembenyama.
I'm done. Wemby. We play him Saturday, and that'll be fun. Hopefully, those are 2 wins. But
okay, I got a question for you about Denver.
Yeah.
So we lost our superpower. I've listened to the Denver podcasters talk about it, and they feel so good about playing us now if we play them in the playoffs because I think it was Adam Maritz who said the reason Timberwolves won was because of Cat and Cat guarding Jokic and what Cat provided offensively, and we don't have that anymore. What do? Jokic kills Gobert. Do we put Randall on him? Do we give Nas more minutes, put Nas on him? Nas has gotten killed. I mean, he played amazing on him that one game, but he's also gotten crushed by him sometimes. Is Randall strong enough?
There's one option, and you know what it is.
Luka Garza, baby.
Garza. Dude. He's the only hope, dude. We need Luka flipping Garza. There's no other way. I'm not even messing around. Like, why not? When has he played for us and been like, oh, that was a mistake? Never. He's just amazing. He is the Jokic killer.
The problem is the Murray pick and roll. I don't know if Garza's
You don't know
mobile
until you
enough.
try. And
Sure, it's true.
listen, I think Ant will have Jamal throwing heat packs by halftime, so I'm not worried about it. Um, but yeah, I think we got to try something if it's because Jokic is going to get or you take the approach of let Jokic get his 46 and we'll still win. But I don't know. I'm not as if we had Towns, if we had last year's team, I would be like, this is an easy regular season dub. But I do not feel that right now. Um, although in the playoffs, home court versus them didn't really make any difference. So we won all our games on the road, right? Or we won one in the Target Center.
We performed better on the road.
Yeah, which is crazy. Um, yeah. So Nuggets, Spurs. Did you see the Halloween party that the Wolves had? Costume party?
Oh yeah. Did you see Tim Conley?
Yeah, dressed as Ant.
Yeah, hilarious.
So good.
Yeah, Jaden's pose is hilarious in the team picture. Honestly, if you want like some great photos, just do a close up on Jaden on any team photo and it's guaranteed gold.
Love that. Hey, we do need to give our flowers to our boy Karl Anthony Towns, dropping 40 plus.
I wore
Got the
my cat
jersey.
jersey. Oh,
He was
baby. He
amazing.
was,
Uh,
I was so freaking happy.
yeah,
He
because
was
I
killing it.
and I really felt like watching a little bit of the Knicks that they just weren't utilizing, letting him do cat things, and all he needed was a game where he got a little bit of heat and just take over, and they're going to be better for it. Once they
I just,
realize that he's their best player, they're going to be such a better team.
I just, it's so frustrating watching them and seeing the shot distribution. Part of it is Cat can sometimes be too unselfish, but seeing how their offense was distributing it, like he's so much better offensively than
Hmm.
Bridges or Anunoby. It's just he is so talented in all the areas. He his the way he was getting his buckets too was so beautiful. He had this so much touch, and I think that New York fans had that moment that we had with Randall against Sacramento, where they're like,
Yep.
"Oh, this is what it can be."
Yep.
Um, so I was so happy for my boy. That was man. Can you? I believe in Randall, but can you imagine if we had our team with Devo, but we still had Cat? Oh man,
Dude. There is a trade out
there's an
there, but
no. It's it makes sense, or I understand it from the long term. It's just hard to say goodbye to Cat. I also think one of our biggest problems right now that we haven't talked about is with losing Cat, rebounding has been tough. And when uh Gobert hasn't been in the game, when we've had Randall and Nas as our front court,
mhm.
we've had a 68% defensive rebounding percentage, which would have been last in the NBA last year. So when Gobert's not in the game, we're rebounding it badly.
Yeah.
And that's something we got to figure out. Nas got rebounded over a couple times in ways that weren't so pretty. And neither of them are really a true center like Cat was. So I do think that's another area that we're going to have to figure something out because they have more of a switchability than we had last year. There's some unique things about that lineup that are different from with Cat, but it's going to be some things are a lot harder.
Yeah. I agree. Did you see in other NBA news that Ronnie got his first NBA bucket? Um, that over under that bet that I made is looking really good. Getting those garbage time minutes. Um, in the other NBA news, I watched the Indiana Pacers play the Celtics. The Pacers looked awesome.
Well,
Um,
did you see we talked about the starting five and who we'd rather have?
yeah,
And
yeah.
like everyone we talked about is in next year.
Oh,
They
really?
got Hallie,
Who's the starting?
Harden,
Who's the starting five?
Halliburton, Harden, KD, Jalen Brown, and someone else.
Oh, nice. No, I think Harden will be fascinating. He's such a weird guy. I kind of want him to do it with Grady Dick. That dude is hilarious. And he just dropped 30 points the other night. Um, oh, we have to talk about the Dwayne Wade statue.
And SGA.
Okay. Oh, yeah, he'll be good too. Did you see the Dwayne Wade statue?
Oh man, I was dying. I love it so much. The best is everyone cropping it over famous shots of Dwayne
Oh,
Wade.
I know. Well, the weirdest thing is, first of all, it is so bad. Like I think it's got to be a prank. Do you think it's a prank? Like
I
I wouldn't be
think no, no,
surprised
no, dude.
if what?
I promise you that that was some Spurs fan who spent like 10 years getting into like wanted revenge or something and got in and then was able to do it. It has to be an inside job.
No, no, no. You know what it is? It's so it's going to be like this whole thing where at the end of the year, like they do another ceremony with it, and out of the corner you see Nathan Fielder just peeking his head over, like it's been some social experiment. Um, because it is so bad. Like the
Oh
picture of the
man.
unveiling when Dwayne Wade's just looking at it has to be the funniest thing. Like you could make a whole documentary on the statue. It's so bad.
Oh, I love it so much.
Yeah.
It Dwayne Wade tried to defend it by saying like, it's an artistic representation. It's not supposed to necessarily be totally accurate or whatever, but it's
I
the
don't
worst thing I've
know.
ever seen. It resembles him in zero possible ways.
I would demand a remake. Like I wonder how expensive it was, but like these guys have money. I'd be like, whatever it costs, do it again, and don't make it look like Grandpa Dwayne.
How did Pat Riley let this happen? I mean, he had
I
to have
don't
seen it,
know.
right?
I have
I
no
don't know,
idea.
man. Maybe Pat Riley's pissed at Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, probably,
That's the only thing that could explain it.
probably. Um.
This isn't news yet, but next week is the arbitration for the Timberwolves
Oh,
between the owners. So,
that's exciting.
and supposedly, I don't know if we talked about this, but Lori and A-Rod have something like 950 million ready to transfer. The initial agreement was to get like 80% of the team, but now they want to get full percent if they win.
Mm.
No way they can do this with Glenn Taylor still. So they have all the money like in an account ready to transfer, as well as another like 300 million ready to use for operating expenses. So
Wow.
they've got all their ducks in a row. Uh, I really hope they win. I think it's clear that the best thing that's happened to this organization was going out and getting Tim Conley, other than, getting Anthony Edwards. And that's something they made happen.
Hmm.
They're a pretty clear turning point and things that have happened for us. So I hope they win, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Um. One other NBA non-Timberwolf question is the Milwaukee Bucks. They're 1-3. They play the Grizzlies tonight, who haven't had the best start, which I love. I think I hate the Grizzlies more than the Mavs. Like I just can't stand the Grizzlies. Um,
100%. I would put the Grizzlies maybe in the West. Maybe I still think of them as like our biggest rivals.
yeah, can't stand them. Can't stand them. Don't like them. They even lost my most hated player, and I still don't like them. Um,
Dylan Brooks?
yes, can't stand Dylan Brooks. Okay, so they're 2-3. If Milwaukee loses tonight, how many games would you say the over/under is Doc Rivers stays head coach?
They Okay. Well, they're still paying
Their last coach?
Adrian Griffin, and they have a pretty big contract, I think, for Rivers. I don't know that they'll fire him.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? They're if they can't win with Giannis, Lillard, Middleton, like I don't know. There's something broken with that team.
I think they're going to give it more time.
Yeah.
I mean, if they can't win, then they're going to trade Giannis. I mean,
Yeah, I
this is
guess
going to
you're right.
happen. Giannis will want out, and then they'll go to rebuild, and they'll get $1 million draft picks.
Ooh, who's gonna get Giannis?
Who would be pretty good fit
does
with
this-
and
Well, but I know it makes sense. But in the playoffs, I'm gonna be real honest with you. I don't know that I want Giannis.
I will say this: he had one of the greatest playoff runs I've ever seen.
Oh, he
finals
got
performance
he got his
versus
one ring.
Suns. Oh my goodness,
But most of the time,
he's so good, man.
he is so good. I know. I just don't like if I'm playing NBA 2K and I'm doing my draft. I never pick Giannis. Never.
Well, yeah, he's terrible at 2K because he can't shoot the basketball. But this isn't 2K. This is human life.
I don't know. All right. Well.
Can I say one more thing we forgot to cover that's
yeah.
essential?
Yeah.
I don't know the exact. I think Cat is now like 9-1 versus General Soreness after absolutely owning Butler, and Jimmy can't pretend like he's hurt anymore anytime he has to play Cat. Because he would dodge us like every time they would play at Minnesota, but now Cat's in the East, and so he can still, if he wants to, go call Rachel afterwards to tell her the bad news about Cat being a bully in the post to him, which definitely happened. There was one possession where Cat got on the post and was just manhandling him, and Jimmy couldn't do anything, so he fell over and just like pulled Cat down because he wasn't strong enough. And I felt so good in that moment, but. We just had to take the celebration.
Did you see before the Heat game when Jimmy tries to act like he doesn't know Towns, just like walks right past him, and has to like break the ice, be like, "Hey, what's up, dude? We played together." Jimmy just such a ding dong.
Jimmy's so strange.
And he played terrible too. So sorry, General Soreness, but not today. Well. Jake, thanks for getting on. Shout out to Dwayne Wade and whoever made his statue. Shout out to Karl Anthony Towns, the newest New York Knick, who is now my favorite team in the East. Never thought I would say that. But you know what? New York deserves a little bit of love. They've had a hard road. The Yankees just lost. So, Karl, you're a gift to the city. Shout out to Nas Reed, and our newest addition to our bench, DiVincenzo.
You can call him the Michael Jordan of Delaware.
I'm not calling him that. I'm going to call him Devo.
That's one of his nicknames.
Devo
or the
and
Big
Dilly.
Ragu. The
I
Big
like the Big
Ragu.
Ragu. Shout out to Devo, the Big Ragu.
Yeah, he's really, Chris is really happy to get some more Italian representation on our team.
And last but not least, shout out to the future ownership of the Minnesota Timberwolves. We're cheering for you. Take down Glenn Taylor for the win. Until next time, Jake, can I get a
Holiday goes that man.
Randall up ahead. Edwards one-on-one with Thompson. Makes his move. Oh, that's crafty!
He's rolled, he's rebounded.
No hesitation from Edwards, who cans the triple. Edwards and Randall on the same page. Hot hand. Yes, sir! Edwards bangs in a triple.
Irving in Doncic, he's going to get a lot of good looks. Those guys are great creators.
Edwards. Oh, Anthony Edwards, bullseye.
Shooting struggles from last night.
Oh! Anthony Edwards is putting on an offensive exhibition. Run out for DiVincenzo. Goes behind the back with the razzle-dazzle dribble. Edwards got it! Anthony Edwards is unconscious.
Wow.
20 points. 5 of 7 from three-point territory. Marshall defending Edwards. Gobert the screen. Edwards. Oh, this is ridiculous! Anthony Edwards is in a different stratosphere.